everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex Mario. I have this channel with my husband Troy, but it's just gonna be me today, and we are going to do the 20 things I wish I knew in my 20s. So in honor of me almost turning 30, I wrote down 20 things. Now I don't want to take forever, so I'm gonna go bullet point after bullet point, give you a little explanation with each one, but I'm gonna keep it short, sweet, simple, concise, to the point. Let's get started. Okay, so I have categories for you guys. I'm gonna list out the categories. We're gonna go spiritual. I'm a Christian, by the way, so I'm talking from a Christian biblical perspective for this whole thing, and then it's emotional, physical, relational, and then we're gonna end with some career/financial advice. So, number one, don't make your life all about you. In my early 20s, I was so obsessed with my purpose and my calling as a Christian. And it's very, very common nowadays, especially in the West, to be all about what is my purpose, what is my calling, blah, 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 and to get stuck on that when you're being pulled in a whole bunch of different directions, when you might be changing throughout the years, and so you're confused. You're like, is this my calling? Is that my calling? Number one, your purpose is to be with God. That is your purpose, to be with God, to do life with Him, to be in His presence. It doesn't just end right there. It's the cool part is that He's given you specific gifts and talents and abilities, and He wants you to do something with that. And so you're to offer that as a sacrifice to God. Okay, what do you want me to do with these things that you placed in my hands? And whatever that is, that's what He's calling you to. I wish that I knew your calling is to do whatever it is with what He's placed in your hands and to make disciples. Okay, so number two, to make reading your Bible and prayer a non-negotiable for you. This has been a non-negotiable for me for several years. In the season of life that you're in, if you could spend all the time in the world reading your Bible, go ahead and do that. There's so many things coming from the world around you. There's so many lies and opinions and whatever it is happening in the world around you. It's so important to be rooted in God's word. So don't let anybody tell you that you're doing too much, you're legalistic because you read your Bible every day. That's not what legalism is. And so that is the number two thing that I wish that I knew and was secure about in my early 20s. I did adopt that later on, but that's number two. Number three is to listen to your discernment. If you feel something might be off, you feel something's not right, whatever it might be, actually stop and listen to that. It might be God, something in you saying, hey, this isn't the right move. This isn't the right group of friends. This isn't the right church. This isn't the right job. This isn't the right way of thinking. This person, they're telling you a lie, or they're not good for you, or whatever it might be. Instead of doubting yourself all the time, stop and actually listen to your discernment. Some people call it intuition. Sometimes I just think intuition, if you're a Christian, is discernment. Again, if that's from the Lord, stop doubting yourself. So that's something that I wish, again, I was secure about more early on in specifically my walk with Jesus, but in my 20s. Okay, and then the last thing in this spiritual theme is taking the next step actually helps eliminate anxiety. Okay, so this is Matthew 6:34, and it says, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And this is Psalm 119:105, and it says, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. There are so many moments, and I still do it now and have to stop myself, where I just worry. I worry about whatever it might be. I allow that to actually consume my thoughts and to distract me and to keep me stuck, whether it's for a few hours or a few days or a month, 2 months, whatever it might be. It keeps me from actually moving forward because I'm worrying about that thing. Like the Word of God says, what good does that do? Absolutely nothing, because if you think about it, if you're consumed with worrying or with fear, what are you doing? Are you actually taking the next step? Are you actually doing something that's productive? Are you actually focused on something other than yourself? What are you moving unto, right? Is the Lord actually calling you onto something, whether it be big or small, and are you actually moving in obedience. And so a lot of times the worrying actually does preoccupy your life and your mind, and you might find yourself not taking the next steps, versus if you were actually to do the next step, you would help eliminate that anxiety. So what I have done actually instead is I read my Bible every single morning for about 30 minutes, and I pray, I journal, and I ask God, what do you want me to do today? And a lot of times I write it down. So I just ask him. It could be work related, it could be friend related, it could be house related, it could be relational related with my husband, or whatever it might be. I write it down and I actually try to do that thing that day. And it helps eliminate so much worry and anxiety because I've actually taken the next step that I feel like God's asking me to take. Number 6 is to stop comparing yourself. What good does comparing yourself actually do? Are you being true to who God's called you to be? And are you moving in that direction? And so if you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, you might be trying to be something that you're actually not. And at the end of the day, you're wasting precious time because it's gonna come back and hit you at some point, like, oh, I actually don't like this. Oh, I actually don't feel like myself. I don't feel authentic. I don't feel like I'm fully comfortable in my skin or with the people that I'm with or in the city that I live in or with the things that I have or whatever it is. It's like, oh, I did all of these things because I was actually stuck in a pattern of comparison versus being authentic to you and who God has created you to be, whether somebody likes it or not. Stop trying to do stuff for the approval of others. Stop comparing yourself and just be you. Okay, the next thing is to go to therapy. So I honestly grew up thinking or believing that therapy was for people that, to put it bluntly, I thought, oh, it's just for people that are crazy or that have like huge traumatic events that have happened in their life. Therapy is so helpful. I would say it's helpful for everybody. If you could afford it, if you could invest in yourself now versus later, oh, it's gonna pay off, specifically in marriage, specifically with your future kids, if you ever have kids, the people that you mentor, the work that you do with your life, whatever it is in your life in general, therapy is an investment, but it's definitely going to pay off. So I started going to therapy maybe about 4 years ago. And yes, I still go, and it's amazing, and I love it. I don't regret it, and I'm gonna keep going as long as I can. But I would say if I could have started earlier, I would have. And so if you're in your 20s watching this and you haven't thought about investing in yourself in the form of therapy, I would think about that. The next thing is to not participate in gossip. Why are you gossiping? You're focused on critiquing somebody else or a group of other people that has nothing to do with you. A lot of times you're just trying to make yourself feel better, right? A lot of the times you walk away from those types of conversations, maybe with an inflated head, but you always feel icky on the inside. I don't know how to describe that feeling, but it's not like a good, oh, I'm filled up, I'm encouraged, I'm more secure, I'm more confident. You don't walk away with those feelings when you participate in gossip. So that is one thing that I wish I followed earlier, is to not participate in gossip. The next thing is, I wish that I knew that conflict was not bad. Conflict is just when you think, feel, need, or want something different than somebody else. That's all that conflict is. It doesn't mean, oh, it has to be a huge blowout fight with this person just because we have conflict or whatever it is. No, it's just if you think, feel, need, or want something different than somebody else. It could be something very small or something very big. But you could practice conflict resolution and get really good at that, get good at regulating your own emotions, etc. Go to therapy. I just wish I knew that conflict wasn't always a bad thing and I wasn't afraid of it. The next thing that I wish I knew was to either deal with it, or if I wasn't going to deal with it fast enough, to drop it and forgive. I think it comes with the type of world where you're living about yourself. Like, you are the center of the universe. You are the main actor, the main actress. I don't believe that that's the life that God has called us to live. It's all about Him. It's all for Him. And so if that is the case, you could actually practice forgiveness so much more easily because the world does not revolve around you. So either deal with it fast enough or drop it and forgive. The next thing that we're gonna talk about is physical. Join a strength training class, even if it's just for a few months. So it's 2024 right now, so about 4 years ago, I joined a strength training class and I went to the same gym, the same strength training class for about 2 years. And I'm so happy that I did that because I was able to learn so many different types of exercises. I was able to learn how to use different machines in the gym or free weights, and I learned good form. So I'm not gonna lie, it's very cringy going to 24-hour fitness now and seeing people use the weights wrong and have terrible form. It's a little bit cringy and I feel bad. I'm like, dang, I don't wanna like go and help you because I don't wanna sound demeaning or anything like that. But I think that that would be a huge investment in yourself if you were to join a strength training class for a few months, learn good form, and then you could drop it. If it's too expensive, it's not as expensive as having a personal trainer. It feels similar to having a personal trainer. You could drop it when you learned a whole bunch of different exercises and now you have good form. Now you know what you're doing in the gym. You're more comfortable in the gym. So that's something that I wish I knew earlier, is to invest in a strength training class. The next thing is weightlifting. So if you think that going on a whole bunch of walks is gonna get you fit, I don't know. Walking is so good for you and it's better than nothing. And if that's all you can do in the season of your life that you're in, or just in general, like walking is all you're literally able to do, then that's amazing. Keep going, keep walking. However, if you have the ability to weightlift, you're able to not just weightlift for the looks of it, but it's actually able to help you in different areas of life later on. So you might find yourself walking or running with more strength. You might find yourself walking up the stairs with more strength, like in your legs. You're less physically depleted or tired when you get up the stairs, or you might find yourself more easily able to carry heavy things or to lift heavy grocery bags, whatever it is. And later on in your years, when you're older, it's gonna be way easier for you to do the regular functional things of life. And so weightlifting is a great thing to do as early as possible. So I would have started earlier in my 20s if I would have known that. Okay, so the next thing is to focus on protein. We're gonna keep this one nice and sweet. There's so many foods that you could be eating. There's a lot of health foods out there, whatever. But at the end of the day, macros are macros. Nutrition hasn't changed. Macros are macros. The macronutrient of protein is what actually builds your muscles, and it's gonna be what satiates you the most, what keeps you fuller for longer. And so I would have focused more on proteins, focused all of my meals around proteins, and less on the carbs, less on, actually fats are pretty good for you, but certain types of fats. Not all types of fats, but I would have focused my meals more around protein, healthy proteins, chicken, ground beef. Ground beef is amazing. Fish or whatever, steak. But I would have focused more around protein in my meals earlier in my 30s in order to actually also see the results in the gym faster than if I was eating like a whole bunch of carbs and just vegetables rather than protein and thinking that, oh, hopefully I'll see muscles. No, that's not how it works. Protein is what equals muscles. And so I would have wanted to focus on protein a little bit earlier in my 20s. The next thing is to walk at least 30 minutes a day. So if you do implement walking, you will see results a lot faster. It's helpful for cutting fat. It's just helpful all around. And so I wish that I would have done this earlier. I did start implementing walking in the last couple of months. Living here in California, it feels so nice going outside. You're not sweating. But I wish that I would have done this earlier on in the middle of the day and at nighttime, especially after like a heavy meal. It's nice to walk it out, and then you feel a little bit better. You're able to more easily digest. And so walking at least 30 minutes a day, hit your 10,000 steps if you can, and I wish that I would have done this earlier. And then the last thing I'll say about physical is keep it simple. Eat whole foods. Don't overcomplicate your nutrition. Chicken, ground beef, turkey, whatever protein you want. You can do sweet potato. Regular potato isn't as good for you, but you got regular potato, Japanese potato. You got a whole bunch of different types of vegetables you could eat. Focus on whole foods. Don't get complicated. Make simple meals, and you'll see a great result out of that. Okay, so I stopped counting because I don't know what number we're on. But the next thing is relational. The next thing that I have on my list is some friendships are for a season, and that is okay. A lot of people, and again, this is okay, especially if you're single and you are just really living like in a community where you're dependent on your friends or your community around you, not necessarily in like a negative sense, but you're really dependent on them to help you make decisions or help you take the next step in life or give you advice or feedback or whatever it is. And all of those things are great, but sometimes when you overdo it, you're not able to think of your life in seasons as easily or let go of certain friendships, especially if they're starting to not be as beneficial for you anymore, or when God's asking you to move into a different season or to move altogether, like a literal move or whatever it is. It's better for you to come to the understanding of some friendships are seasonal, and that's okay. It's honestly very practical. There are certain seasons of life, college, after college, where you're trying to figure your life out. If you get married, marriage, if you move, if you have kids, you join another church. There's so many different seasons of life. And so just for practical reasons as well, that comes with specific people, specific friends. People change, situations change, seasons change, and that's okay. The next one might sound a little bit harsh, but don't get advice from people whose life you don't want to emulate. And so if you're getting relationship advice from a girl who's had 20 different boyfriends, they think all men are toxic and they're not ready to be a wife, not trying to be ready to be a wife, they think they're perfect, whatever it is, then maybe don't get advice from that girl about relationships. Take that concept for a lot of different things in life. Take certain advice with a grain of salt if you don't want to emulate their life. Point blank, period. The next thing is when you know, you know. Now I know that maybe that's controversial or whatever. I don't think it's controversial. I think it's just hard for some people to believe, but it's very true. When you know that somebody is for you, you will know. It might not be day one. It doesn't have to be day one, but I wish that I knew that, because if you're confused in a relationship or dating somebody for months at a time, many months, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and you're still confused, still like, I don't know if I want to be with this person, I don't know if we're going to be married, blah, blah, blah. Not that you have to know that you're going to be married at 6 months, but a lot of times when you know, you know. Like, if you're still confused, then rethink if you should be with this person. Usually guys know a lot sooner than girls do. They're just made to be pursuers. They usually know exactly what they want, and they will make that known. Not all guys, mature guys that are ready for marriage. The next thing is, if they gossip, they're probably gossiping about you too. If you're hanging around a whole bunch of friends that what they like to do is gossip, I would find a new group of friends. Again, point blank, period. The next thing is to pick your friends wisely. If you don't want to be like them, don't hang around them. This life is way too short. Your life is so meaningful. And so think about the closest 3 to 5 people that you have in your life. Do you want to be like them? Do you want to have similar attributes that they have? Do you want to think like they think? Do you want to move in their direction, wherever they're going in life? Not that you're going to be exactly like them or end up like them, but you really are shaped by the closest people around you. So pick your friends wisely. It's okay to change up your friend group. It's okay to be like, thank you so much for this friendship during this season of life, but you know, on to the next one. But don't say it like that. And I'm being very hyperbolic. And then the next theme is all about your career / finances. Start investing. I wish I knew this. I started investing about a year ago. What I do is I have the Acorns app. So number one, download the Acorns app. If you haven't heard of it, I don't know a whole too much about it, but it's very simple to use. So it's an investing platform, and what you could do is actually automatically send money into your Acorns app, and it just holds it in like a bank for you. And so for me, I think what I do is $10 every Monday. So it just sends $10 directly from my bank account into the Acorns app every Monday, and then it does roundups, I think is what it's called. It rounds everything up that you like spend to the nearest dollar or to the highest dollar. So that change, it will like send to the Acorn app, and then it'll just keep building on itself. And it also invests into different things. The Acorns app is for people that don't understand investing too much and don't want to do it themselves. So I would say that's the easiest place to start in terms of investing. You don't have to think about it. I had trouble explaining it because I don't know too much about investing. I started investing this March with the Acorns app and doing that roundup that I was explaining to you, and the $10 weekly. And I think right now I have about $750 in there. That was like off of me doing nothing, just setting it and forgetting it, literally. And so what I would do is start investing, if you can, as soon as you get a job when you're 18, 19, 20, and forget about it. The next thing that I would say is focus on paying off debt faster, but don't make it your whole personality. What I mean by that is obviously we don't want to have debt. We don't want to be a slave to anything in this world. But what I will say is don't make this your whole personality. Don't allow this to have you not go on that vacation, not have that wedding, like not get married, oh, because I still have debt or whatever. No, whatever it could be, not like have a specific hobby or whatever. Obviously be wise. Don't like break the bank with vacations and hobbies and your future wedding. But you can do all of those things budget friendly, still live your life, still experience new things while you're paying off debt. Pay off your debt faster, but don't make it your whole personality. The next thing that I will say is to skill stack. So people nowadays don't necessarily get jobs just because of their resume. You could have the coolest resume ever. You could have been to Harvard, you could have been to Yale, whatever it is, and have trouble getting hired because maybe you've never worked a day in your life. Maybe you have really sucky work ethic. You don't have specific skills that people are looking for. What I will say to that is to skill stack, because people will hire you and ask you to do things because you can do it. So just to elaborate on that a little bit more, skill stacking is, let's say for example, I took an interest in video editing. I edit my own videos for YouTube. That, for example, is something that people would pay for. There are so many people that put out videos. So that's a skill. That's something you never know you could end up doing later on, where somebody's like, oh yeah, can you edit my podcast for me? And it all of a sudden becomes a side hustle. So it's just like an example, but things like that, just stack certain skills that you're actually interested in. At some point, you might be able to use that. And then the next thing is similar to skill stacking, but it's to start to offer your own services to people in something that you love. Even if it's just 5 to 10 hours a week, begin to actually add value to the people around you, people that you know or don't know, and be like, hey, how could I serve you? I have this certain skill, I have this certain ability. Do you need my help? Begin to offer your services, and you, again, literally never know where that can take you and what doors that could open up for you. And so let's say, for example, again, you like to edit videos, start offering that service to people. Hey, I learned how to video edit. I saw that you have a podcast. Do you need a video editor? You literally never know what offering services and being of service to other people would be able to get you in life. The next thing that I would say is specifically to the woman. So there's a lot of women that will eventually get married, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, earlier than that maybe, or later than that. Maybe you've always thought, oh, I'm gonna be this boss babe and I'm gonna work like 50 to 60 hours a week all the time, every day. Having children won't deter me. Being married won't deter me. Whatever, like I can do the same thing that man can do, cool for you, but a lot of women, when they get married, they're gonna eventually say, hey, I want kids. You're gonna be pregnant, you're gonna give birth. And a lot of times for a lot of women, they're gonna feel like, oh shoot, I actually want to take care of my baby in the home. I don't want to send them to daycare when they're 3 months old or whatever. Start to think ahead. Start to think of certain careers or certain skills that you might be able to acquire and eventually give to people around you that would make you more able to be flexible in that specific season of life. I say that not because I have experience in that. I don't have kids of my own, but it's something that I'm starting to think of now. Like, oh shoot, I didn't think that I would need a career that's as flexible. I didn't think that far ahead. Nobody ever told me that. But now I'm finding myself being like, oh shoot, I want kids in like a year. I want to start having kids. I need a job that's going to be okay with that, that's going to allow me to take care of my kids at home, etc., etc. That is something that I wish I knew specifically as a woman in her 20s, to think a little bit more ahead when it comes to career if you want to be a specific type of wife or mom or have a specific type of lifestyle later on in life. Okay, and the last thing that I'm gonna leave you with is to try new things. There's so many people in their 20s that are so stressed out about life. They're like, I don't know what to do. What's my purpose? What's my calling? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right direction? Have fun in your 20s. Try new things, try new hobbies, have certain types of experiences, go to different countries, learn from different cultures, try different jobs. Obviously, I'm not telling you to be irresponsible and to be flaky. I'm just saying, try new things. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't think, oh, I could only do this thing for the rest of my life. Oh, this person, my pastor, my mentor, my friend told me, oh, I'm only good for this thing. No. Try new things. Even if you're not great at it at the beginning, you're gonna have to learn. Nobody is good at something from the very beginning unless they're a unicorn, right? And so just try new things, have fun, have certain hobbies, go for things, take risks, ask God for bigger faith, be bold, be confident, and be authentically who God has created you to be. I'll leave you with that. I hope this wasn't too long of a thing. I think I might have given you a little bit more than 20. I stopped counting after a while, but those are about 20 things that I wish I knew in my 20s. If you're watching this, I am almost 30. I am going to be making a 30th birthday vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments below. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this account. Just take a second and hit the subscribe button. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye!